Samurai prepared for death daily. We panic when Wi-Fi is slow. Somewhere in history, mental strength was replaced with comfort, and the cost is showing. How do we become so fragile? You wake up and reach for a glowing screen, before sunlight, before silence, before your own thoughts. Your nervous system begins the day already stimulated. Messages, news, comparison, expectation. You scroll through curated victories of strangers and call the anxiety that follows normal. You cannot sit in a quiet room for 10 minutes without reaching for something. Music, video, conversation, noise. Not because you enjoy it, because you fear what silence reveals. A delayed response feels like rejection. A minor inconvenience feels like injustice. A critical comment feels like attack. You react quickly. You express immediately. You defend constantly. You call it authenticity, but often it is instability. An entire generation trained in stimulation now wonders why its mind will not settle. This is not mystery, it is conditioning, and it stands in sharp contrast to another way of being. This is not strength. Centuries ago, in feudal Japan, boys were trained under a different sky. The samurai did not wake to notifications. They woke to discipline, cold water before dawn, endless repetition with the sword, hours of stillness and meditation. They wrote death poems. They visualized their own execution. They accepted loss before it arrived, not because they were morbid, because clarity requires confrontation. To live without fear of death is to remove the ultimate leverage. The samurai mind was built on 3 foundations: discomfort, silence, mortality. The modern mind is built on their opposites: comfort, noise, avoidance, and the psychological consequences are visible everywhere. Consider discomfort. The samurai trained in cold winters without complaint, hands cracked, feet numb, muscles trembling. They did not negotiate with pain, they absorbed it. Pain was teacher, fatigue was forge. Today, discomfort is treated as error, too hot, too slow, too boring, too difficult. If a workout hurts, we stop. If a conversation becomes tense, we exit. If a project grows tedious, we pivot. We have confused convenience with progress. Comfort weakens what hardship strengthens. The nervous system adapts to what it experiences repeatedly. If it experiences only ease, it becomes intolerant of strain. If it experiences only stimulation, it becomes addicted to intensity. If it experiences constant validation, it collapses under criticism. This is not moral failure, it is training. The samurai trained their stress response deliberately. Long hours of zazen, seated meditation, forced them to confront restlessness directly. Legs burning, back aching, mind screaming. And they remained, not chasing comfort, not chasing entertainment, just breathing, observing, enduring. Over time, something changed. The impulse to escape weakened, the capacity to remain strengthened. Modern culture does the opposite. When boredom appears, you eliminate it. When anxiety appears, you distract from it. When loneliness appears, you anesthetize it. You rarely sit inside discomfort long enough for it to refine you. Instead, you escape it. Again, and again, and again. Escape builds fragility. Now, consider silence. The samurai spent time alone, in nature, in training halls, in quiet reflection. Silence was not emptiness, it was sharpening. In silence, flaws become visible. In silence, fear becomes audible. In silence, ego becomes exposed. The modern mind avoids silence at all costs. AirPods in, television on, podcasts playing in the background of thought. You are never alone with yourself, and because of that, you do not know yourself. Silence reveals instability. When you finally sit without stimulation, the mind races. Old regrets surface. Future fears multiply. Unfinished thoughts demand attention. You interpret this as proof that silence is harmful. It is not. It is diagnostic. It reveals the condition of your inner world. The samurai welcomed this revelation. They believed you must defeat the internal enemy before facing the external one. Stillness exposes weakness. Without silence, there is no self-mastery. Without reflection, there is no correction. Without solitude, there is no sovereignty. And so, the modern mind remains externally informed and internally chaotic. Now, consider death. The samurai meditated on mortality daily. They wrote final letters, composed poems for their own passing, imagined their last breath. This was not pessimism, it was liberation. If death is accepted, fear loses leverage. If life is fragile, each action becomes intentional. If tomorrow is uncertain, today becomes sharp. The modern mind avoids death entirely. It hides it, filters it, medicalizes it. We speak of it abstractly, but rarely confront it personally. And because we avoid it, we fear it constantly. Anxiety is often unacknowledged mortality awareness. The mind knows life is uncertain, but because it has not processed this truth, it panics in small ways. Career anxiety, social anxiety, health obsession, all shadows of an unexamined fear. Accept death, gain clarity. The samurai mind was not fearless. It was reconciled with loss, with uncertainty, with impermanence. This reconciliation created psychological stability. The modern mind resists impermanence. It clings to identity, to status, to comfort. And when these shift, panic erupts. Return to your daily life. A message goes unanswered. You assume rejection. A project fails. You assume inadequacy. Someone disagrees. You assume attack. Why? Because the internal foundation is unstable. Discomfort feels threatening. Silence feels unbearable. Mortality feels terrifying. So small events feel catastrophic. The samurai would stand before an opponent, knowing he might not see sunset, and yet his breathing remained steady, his posture composed, his attention precise. Why? Because he had rehearsed loss already. He had endured hardship already. He had sat in silence already. The moment did not overwhelm him. It confirmed his training. Train for the worst. Live without fear. This is the identity shift. The question is not, why are we anxious? The question is, what are we training our nervous systems to tolerate? Constant comfort or controlled discomfort? Constant stimulation or deliberate silence? Constant avoidance or conscious acceptance? Imagine if you reverse the conditioning. Cold showers to confront discomfort. Scheduled silence without devices. Reflection on mortality not as horror but as reminder. You would not become morbid. You would become grounded because nothing would surprise you psychologically. When anxiety arises, instead of distracting yourself, stay, breathe, observe the sensation in the chest, observe the tension in the jaw. Do not label it weakness, label it training. This is where the samurai mind begins, in the willingness to remain. Before seeking success, build tolerance. Before demanding recognition, build resilience. Before chasing victory, build endurance. The samurai did not train for applause. They trained for survival, and paradoxically, that made them calm. Modern culture trains for visibility, and that creates instability. When identity depends on reaction, criticism becomes threat. When worth depends on output, rest becomes guilt. When happiness depends on comfort, hardship becomes disaster. Strength is built where comfort ends. Return to the opening contrast. Samurai prepared for death daily. We panic when Wi-Fi is slow. The difference is not intelligence, it is exposure. They expose themselves to hardship intentionally. We avoid it instinctively. If you want the samurai mind in a modern world, begin here. Seek small discomfort daily. Protect silent time fiercely. Contemplate impermanence honestly. Do not dramatize it, normalize it. Over time, your threshold expands. Criticism stings less, delays frustrate less, loss destabilizes less. Because your nervous system has been trained, you will still feel emotion, you will still experience fear, But you will not collapse. You will not spiral. You will not outsource your stability to circumstances. That is the difference. The anxiety epidemic is not random. It is the predictable outcome of chronic comfort and relentless stimulation. To reclaim mental strength is not to return to swords and armor. It is to return to discipline. Discipline in what you expose yourself to. Discipline in what you avoid. Discipline in how you respond. This is the samurai mind. Not aggression, not severity. Composure under pressure. So ask yourself, are you training fragility or fortitude? Are you seeking relief or resilience? Are you avoiding silence or entering it? And if mental strength was replaced with comfort, will you continue the exchange or reclaim what was lost?